BJ, speaking of rap lyrics, Money Man dropped a track called On the Go, and he's got a line in that, and he says, "These guys won't shoot. They're Ben Simmons." So we got to talk about the opposite end of the spectrum. We're going from a higher flying point guard out west, taking the league by storm, to a point guard and east who's not taking the league by storm. He's doing quite the opposite. Now, I have heard from sources in the Simmons camp. Now, I don't know if this counts as news because I think it's pretty common and obvious knowledge, but the latest I've heard is that he prefers to be traded now to two destinations, one being the Golden State Warriors and two being the Dallas Mavericks. But right now, he is not hopeful at all that the Philadelphia Sixers will even trade him. He knows that the Golden State Warriors is very, very unlikely to happen, but he fears that the Sixers may not trade him at all before the deadline. What are your guys' takes on this whole saga that we're going to hear more and more about for the next month until the trade deadline finally appears?
It does remind of, I mean, it's the obvious rejoinder that people would have of, I prefer to be dating Scarlett Johansson. Like, that would be the preference.
Yeah.
That would be the preference. Like, I'm open to such a eventuality. You know,
that's great. That is great.
I mean, maybe Dallas. I mean, but the Warriors. I don't know, man. That would be a big risk. Could you imagine them? Could you imagine them doing that? I mean,
no, not at all.
That'd be a ballsy move.
But I think it just goes to show, you know, what you speak about in your book in terms of Steve Kerr having his team play with the joy that kind of attracted Kevin Durant to them in the first place, and the fact that they wouldn't need him to shoot the ball at all, and that's kind of why he thinks their style of play would suit him best. But I completely agree with you, because I also, you know, Scarlett Johansson's there. Who's not going to say that? But what intrigued me is the Dallas one, though. Given that Luka Doncic is such a ball dominant guard, what do you think about that fit?
I mean, maybe if I could be creative and really think about it, I could come up with some sort of way it would work. But I think part of his problem is he wants to be the guy, but a team of a certain quality is a team that he might not really be the guy on. So I don't know. I don't know when reality is going to come into focus for him. This has not worked out for him. It's not been handled well by his camp. I mean, he's just lost a lot of time, and the problem is I don't know if he can see himself properly. I think he might see himself as what we were saying about Ja Morant, right? I mean, he's acting that way. He's acting like he has Anthony Davis type leverage, or he did. But even if, hey, I'm an all-star and that guy's an all-star, that might be the way he's thinking about it. It's a world of difference. And he doesn't have a superstar's leverage when he's been trying to dictate the action. And part of what he's running into right now that makes it tough for him is that the league views his predicament as existential. They view it as, if dudes can just opt out of their contract this early on, then contracts don't have any meaning, right?
Right.
This really matters to the league. The league wants him to get crushed. The league wants him to be an example to other people. They won't say that. Adam Silver won't come out and say it. David Stern would have, by the way. But Adam Silver won't. But they're behind the Sixers every step of the way, making life tough for Ben Simmons. They're not going to say it, but they're the ones coming to the Sixers and saying, hey, whatever you need to do, we got your back. And that matters. That matters, you know? Like, I reported that. I wrote that. It matters because ultimately these kinds of disputes go to an arbiter, and the NBA is that arbiter. So if the NBA is coming to you and secretly through back channels saying, hey, we're on your side, that matters a lot. So he might need to, I guess, lower his expectations. Hey, maybe it works out in Dallas. I don't know if it happens, but he might have to, I don't know, have preferences listening to everybody.
Reportedly, he's lost 10 million so far this season, and that's not to factor in the off-court endorsements, because I'm sure brands aren't trying to be giving money to a guy that's not on the court and he's just causing drama. BJ, from your perspective,
wait, I just want to say you get a cell phone endorsement, you know, for a cell phone that you can practice with. Sorry.
Well, the biggest headlines about him is him dating Maya Jama from London, much to the dismay of many of the population here. who are wallowing in heartbreak as she flies out to Philadelphia or wherever she may be. But BJ, if you had to pick a team that you could see Ben Simmons on if he was to be moved by the trade deadline, and you could only pick one, who are you picking?
Well, I think what Philadelphia is holding out on or holding out for is an all-star. Whether Ben Simmons is viewed as a superstar, when I mean a superstar, an elite player as your first option to win a championship, I don't think that holds true, but I think they want an all-star back in return, especially with Joel Embiid, who has now consistently, he's a top 5 or top 7 player in the NBA. So if they can
top
get
5
all-star player,
he's been on a tear for the past month. That's been scary.
He's right up there with in the MVP conversation. And say what you want, they're still one of the better teams minus Ben Simmons. With Ben Simmons, maybe if Ben Simmons is the player that we all think he could be, that's a big if, maybe that pushes them over the top. However, the interesting thing about watching this from afar is that you can see what the rest of the league views of him. No one has really stepped up to the plate to get a deal done.
Yeah.
And that to me has been the most surprising thing. One thing, I think Ethan, as we go about this, I want to hear his comments about it is, at some point here, the new collective bargaining agreement will come into play. And I think when we look back on this some years from now, the owners and the league is going to look back to this moment in time to have the following argument. We're going to shorten the length of these contracts of these players. And this is a very dangerous position for the players to be in as they go, not only talking about one player getting traded, but the future of length of contract. Because now, if you can't get a 5-year extension, a 4-year extension, you're talking 1 or 2 year deals because of the following. You see with Kyrie Irving, you see with Ben Simmons. And I think these owners are using these moments in time to gear up for that. And I'll be interested to hear what Ethan thinks about that, because at some point here, there's going to be a new collective bargaining agreement. And what do you think, Ethan, this is going to play, or how it's going to play itself out?
Ben Simmons is making life tough for the players in the new CBA. This is going to be referenced. This is going to be brought up. I think BJ is completely right. And what's going to help the owner's case, to just give some broad strokes views of the financial situation of the league right now. They will sign a new TV deal. That new TV deal on the national level will be bigger than the old one. That's going to hopefully supplement and stem a lot of the losses otherwise. But there was a recent headline, I think it might have even come out today, and this type of thing is going to get brought up in the negotiations. And it's weird to me that these sorts of headlines, they like come and go. People don't even talk about them. The Knicks and the Rangers tried to recover $1.8 billion with a B of financial losses stemming from COVID-19. And they tried to get their insurer to cover more. And the insurer said, no, man, it's up to $1 million. We don't go higher than that. That's the deal. And the judge ruled in the favor of the insurer today. So the Knicks and the Rangers, based on that ruling, maybe I need to read a little bit closer. It looks like they just lost $1.8 billion or something like it today. That's
crazy.
There is money pouring out of the league that they would have otherwise expected. We forget what it was like going into this season. It was going into the season over the summer. People were relaxing. People were saying, I got the vaccine. We're opening up in California, which is really nervous about these types of things. All of a sudden, I was going into Costco or wherever, no mask. And then the Delta variant happened. And now we've got Omicron, and we've got all these absences. And what people don't understand about the attendance at these arenas is they give away tickets to try to make it look like more people are there. They send people down to the lower level when it's a national game to try to make it look like people are there. And this sort of thing spirals in the ticket industry. And gate revenue is about 40% of NBA revenue, according to Adam Silver. Mm-hmm. They're getting hit hard right now. it's a downward spiral because people buy tickets on the assumption they can sell tickets, right? And that bids it up. It's speculative. But once people go, oh my God, ticket prices are dropping, it starts to spiral and it starts to just go down to the bottom. So they're losing a lot. When I wrote about it a few months ago, my newsletter, I was talking about how at the time you could get a Clippers suite for $250. I'm not talking about like one guy, one ticket to the suite. I'm talking about you're having a bachelor party, rent out a suite at a Clipper game for $250, right? So you're seeing losses. There was a Western Conference team I mentioned that had 15 of 38 of their suites empty. So the league is getting hit hard. So I think that's going to get referenced. Situations like this with Ben Simmons is going to get referenced. And they're going to have a strong case to make. They're going to have a strong play to make when they try to wrench back some of the control and some of the dollars from the players. I think it could be a brutal negotiation. We're already seeing it right now in baseball where the players have been locked out by the owners.